The concept of somatic therapy is you can sit in your emotions. It's not about the narrative. It's not about the story that you're telling yourself. It's about the perception.
Dr. Maryam Zeineddin is founder of Zili Care, a not-for-profit platform that empowers women to navigate the medical system, offering evidence-based tools to transform our approach to mental, physical, and emotional health.
Zili came to me out of this desperate need to give women ownership of their own health. I realized that there's this element that we're really missing in terms of proactive or preventative health. I wanted every woman to feel empowered to take care of herself. It's not just your physical health you need to care for, it's your mental, emotional well-being. And how do you do that without having to pay so much money?
Welcome to the Interesting MD podcast, the show about what doctors do when we aren't seeing patients and how this can help us find balance and prevent burnout. I'm your host, Rob Beck. Welcome back to another episode of the Interesting MD podcast. I have another podcast all-star. Dr. Maryam Zeineddin is back, and she is here to talk about her side business that she has here called Zili Care. So before that, maybe I misquoted about what it is, so I apologize. But before that, I just wanted to, again, thank everybody so much for reaching out, all of the emails, the phone calls, the social media stuff. I really appreciate it, and truly humbled to hear all of the different people who are reaching out from all over, literally North America. And I'm trying to get back to everybody's emails, and hang tight. And if you have any ideas about episodes, shows, things that you're interested in, I would love to hear more about them. But let's get to the fun part. So I thank you so much for coming back. I had so much good feedback about you, and everybody's like, oh, I love her already. And
thank you.
And actually, a few of your patients have reached out on YouTube and talked about how much they love you. Yeah, they saw your video on YouTube and they talked about how much they love you and how amazing you are. And so it has been confirmed. Your suspicions.
Well, that's very nice of them. Thank God I did not pay them.
No, it's definitely true. Everybody's suspicions are confirmed by her patients that she is amazing and that she is as cool as you think she is. So welcome back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So last time we just talked about being family doctors in British Columbia and kind of the payment model, and that has been very popular as well. So I'm sure that there are going to be more people who have more questions about this. But this time we're going to talk about your other passion project. I don't know what to call it other than, well, you tell me. We're going to talk about Zili Care. So can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, actually, I like the word passion project. It is like a passion project for me still. I can tell you a little bit about it. And I'm not sure if I told you in the previous episode how many times I've had burnouts.
No.
But yes, as a doctor who you are listening, I'm sure you can totally relate to this. We're going to have our ebbs and flows when it comes to burnout. And we know the system that we function under is somewhat broken, maybe more than somewhat broken. And there's only so much control we have over it. And yes, I did go into leadership, and yes, I did a lot of things to help change, be part of that systemic change. But I actually, Rob, it was so interesting. I didn't even like the way I practice medicine. Like, I really don't like the concept of Band-Aid medicine. I don't. I realized that, my background is in physiology, and so very science. And I realized that there's this element that we're really missing in terms of proactive or preventative health for patients. I feel like we wait patients wait because they kind of have to. And then they come to us when they're completely broken or they're completely in pain or they now have an illness. And for me, it was also sort of attached to the fact that, I didn't like the fact that I was seeing patients so quickly and so swiftly. Yep. And yes, it was a lot to do with the way we were being paid. But Zili came to me really at the brink of another one of my burnouts. I've had one burnout in between having two children. So I had actually postpartum depression, severe postpartum depression, in which I still worked through the whole time, which I don't recommend, but I had to go on antidepressants. I had severe anxiety. I had panic attacks. And then I felt like, oh, okay, well, I went on my antidepressants and I went and did counseling and off I go. And then 10 years into it, again, another big burnout hit. And it was around the time, actually, the south of the border, the government they got the new president, who still is now the president again. And women's health was really going to shits. And I was like, oh no, this is terrible. And so around sort of 2017, by the end of 2017, I was like, okay, no, I gotta do something. I can't so Zili was born out of this desperate need to give women ownership of their own health. So meaning I wanted every woman to feel empowered to take care of herself so that she didn't actually have to utilize the healthcare system so much. And at the same time, I think Goop was really popular, the Gwyneth Paltrow Goop. Even though I actually really like Gwyneth Paltrow as an actress, I felt like Goop was really giving a lot of misinformation to women.
Not so much as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this whole jade egg thing, oh, this is terrible. So, I mean, there were so many elements of it that was just, and it was just the beginning at the time. I mean, it wasn't even nearly what Goop is now, but it was kind of like, okay, but how come conventional doctors don't question things like this? How come we don't give good information to patients? And how come we don't really sort of empower our patients to really understand that physical and mental health is really one? Yeah. Because what we do in the conventional world of medicine, we just kind of like, we make sure there's nothing wrong with you physically first before we even enter into the mental health realm. And I have a very, very phenomenal mentor. I don't know if I mentioned his name last time, but his name is Dr. Gabor Maté. And he wrote this really, really profound book, Where the Body Says No. He gave it to me when I was a med student at the time. This is like 25 years ago. And he was like, you need to read this because you're going to get burnt out and you're going to blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, oh God, I hope he's not listening. But come full circle after two burnouts, having had two kids, having had to carry all this being in this conventional world of medicine, I realized he was way ahead of his time, way, way ahead of his time in terms of understanding how much mental and physical component of health and well-being is really not only just interconnected, but I just call it as one element now.
Yeah. It's the body.
One system. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Zili was started by this, it was almost like this movement where I wanted all the women in all the public. So it wasn't just physicians, it was everybody. We would get together every year for a massive conference, like a preventative health conference. We got sponsorship from all sorts of companies that had really no particular conflict of interest. So we didn't have any pharmaceuticals or any sort of big marketing people who wanted to sell medical products, or it would really impact the information being given to them. Although I did have to get sponsorship from banks and, wealth management companies and people like that, just so that we can actually make ends meet. It is a not-for-profit. So it was like a local success story. We started with the yearly conferences, and then it became into educational webinars. Then it became into creating programs for corporate entities. And then now it's not just for women, it's for men and women. So we're just putting together events. We're putting together anything that brings that element that it's not just your physical health you need to care for, it's your mental, emotional well-being. And how do you do that without having to pay so much money, without any products involved? So yeah, I'm not making money off it, I can tell you that. But it's become a movement, and it's really great because there's so many people doing sort of similar things now, very sort of like-minded individuals. And I've kind of brought in the non-conventional world of medicine into it as well, without this animosity, that we
Okay.
have.
So what kind of non-conventional stuff? So this is great. That's really wonderful. And is this, I guess, before we get to the non-conventional stuff, but so this is a nonprofit. You get sponsorships. Do patients pay for this, or do they?
At the moment, so the information is obviously free. We put out the information for free. So there's basically, we're trying to make sure that there is some equity in this information. Unfortunately, what happens with preventative health and proactive health is that only the people that can afford it will do proactive and preventive health.
Yeah.
The same way people go and buy organic food, it's always the ones that have the time and have the money and have the resources. So when we even have the conferences, what we do is, last time, I think, we had about 500 attendees, and I think we got 200 tickets for free to give out. The most recent event we had was more for leadership and more for, people that are in sort of high executive positions that really we wanted to hone in this message. And even there, we had at least 30% of the tickets actually were sponsored. So it was, it's been great because a lot of companies are actually willing to now buy angel tickets, sponsor, students to attend these events. Last event, I have to tell you, it was the best one because we had actually, I got to get him to get on your podcast. He's an amazing psychologist. We had this amazing psychologist, PhD psychologist, actually, who does laughter yoga. So
Okay. I usually end up laughing every time I try and do yoga too, but it's because my wife is making fun of me and my complete and utter Tin Man flexibility.
This is like laughter yoga. Like you're only going there to laugh.
Okay.
And it was so funny. It was so good. And he was really trying to explain the science around laughter and mindfulness. And it was so, so good. And then we had executive coaches. We had business people that actually spoke for the first time. Usually all the other conferences it's been very sort of conventional, like the cardiologist came and spoke about, are your cardiovascular risks. We've got the internists come. And when we always have obviously very good speakers. So if the next one, you're up, Robert Beck.
All right, I'm there. How often do you guys meet?
It's actually really fun. It's so fun. There is a certain energy that happens when people all come together. At the beginning, what we used to have different sort of people can go to different workshops and they could go to different things and hear different talks. And then we had one conference where everybody just stayed in that one room. And it was magical because the diversity of the group, the energy we got from the audience was phenomenal. So one of our biggest sort of problems now, or always concerns, is who's going to fund these events? Who's going to step up and fund proactive, preventative care conferences without actually a product to sell, which is difficult because the whole world is really circling around what's it in for me. And so they kind of want our stakeholders, like they want the people that are interested in proactive preventative health. Bank will come and say, oh, okay, well, maybe I can learn.
Maybe you can bank with us, or
yeah. And also they want to show that they're also socially conscious. So there is a social conscience movement with some of these companies. So it's not a bad thing. We'll take it. And
I'm okay with virtue signaling as long as it's preventive care, and that's fine. Yeah. Virtue signal away. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it also, we have this acronym. So Zili actually came to me randomly in the middle of the night. I woke up my husband and I was like, I just came up with a name. And my last name is Zeineddin. So and my niece's name starts with Z as well. So I love the Z, and like Zorro. But anyways, that's not the point. So the Z was there. And then I was playing with words like improve, life, initiative. And then I circled the first letter of each word, and it became Zili. And then I looked up Zili and randomly, and in Hebrew, it means my shadow. And in Mandarin, it means to take care of oneself.
Oh,
Like, how cool is that?
that's a really
I
useful
know.
word, right?
I know.
That does a lot of lifting in multiple languages.
I know.
That's very cool.
I know. So we kept the word Zili. I think originally it was Zili Health, and then it was rebranded to Zili Care because a few of us started using this care formula for how to sort of almost like a lifestyle counseling for patients around like, how do you care for yourself, really? We started giving out this care formula, and the care formula, the C stands for calming the mind. And we explain it's not about calming the mind. Your mind's never going to get calm. It's just about not chasing every thought you have.
Okay.
It's about, you can formally or informally meditate however you want. But as long as you spend 5 to 10 minutes a day, that's it. That's really all you need. And that's what the evidence has shown to really give you that mental exercise to calm your nervous system down. So the calming the mind is a big one. And I teach a lot of my patients grounding exercises, just even how to walk and informally meditate and be mindful. So there's a lot of tricks there. And I do it religiously myself every day. I started actually on Headspace, like the app Headspace. Yeah. Because I love Andy Podicombe. I love his voice. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to just religiously, not that I'm religious, but I'm religiously going to do this every day and I honestly, I could not even sit for more than 3 minutes. Like, I was so antsy. Yeah. I started with 3 minutes, then it became to 5 minutes, then it became 10 minutes. And I would do 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night. And they give you, and I'm so competitive. This is so, if you're a physician, this is like so perfect for you because you get
I'm going to competitively meditate.
Yeah.
I'm a competitive meditator.
Stickers. Yeah. And I would get stickers. Like, so if you actually had a streak, like if you keep your streak, you could get these stickers. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to get my 1 week streak. And then I'm going to get my 1 month streak. And then I did it 1 year every day for 365 days. And I got the 1 year sticker.
There's nothing better than that. I will say I'm a total sucker for those things. I have some terrible news I lost my streak on my Peloton app.
Oh.
I was at 59 weeks and I lost I thought that I had done a workout when I was in Montreal and I did not record a workout. And then I logged on yesterday and I realized I had lost my 59-week streak on my Peloton. So that was pretty devastating.
But you know that you've done it.
I do know that I've done it. I don't have proof of it anymore, but that's okay.
It's in there.
I'm going to restart. Yeah, I'm going to restart. It's okay. I didn't lose all the fitness, but those things totally work for me. I log into MyFitnessPal every day to log my food. I have now logged in. Let's see. Hang on. Sorry. I have to brag about this because I did get so excited when
so you're one of those people.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. So
526 days. 526 days straight.
Okay, so if you even have Peloton also has great meditation. You just have to find the person that has the voice that you like. The voice is really important. I started with Headspace because I really liked Andy Podicombe, and Andy Podicombe's meditations doesn't have music in the background, whereas Peloton's got all this music, and it's like really, really. And so my husband really likes that. He loves it because he says I lose my train of thought. Like my thought takes over within 3 seconds, and then I bring it back again, and then I bring it back again, and then I bring it back again. So
I've got to work on this.
Yeah.
Okay,
so the C is calming the mind, and it's a big one. The A you already do is activating your body. So, if you already at physicians, I don't think we need to really tell them to activate their bodies. But I think it was really important to talk about when we do the coaching, when I do actually the coaching, we talk about measure of success, really changing some measure, especially when people get injured. Physicians really get stuck with the measure of success but I need to do 5K but my time was this. And So we're really trying to calm down the type A personalities. Hello, everybody.
Good luck. Good luck.
Well, so the measure of success was, can you run for 20 minutes without having any pain? Right. So there is different and I've been injured many, many times. And currently I am a tennis player right now with an injured neck, shoulder, with a dorsal scapular nerve impingement.
No.
But, I'm working on it. So I'm using all my tools and insights, and I'm not depressed yet. So that is a good thing.
That is good.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? That is good, because
we
usually
can spiral.
Yes, physicians' only tool is to activate their bodies. A lot of their tool, and then if they get injured, it's downhill from that. So listen to that, Robert.
Activating, I'm doing fine with.
Activating,
I'm doing fine with that.
Yeah, and then the R is reinforcing the body. So reinforcing the body. I mean, when we do the care formula, especially for teenagers and sort of young adults, we really talk about their screen time and sleep, and not so much about how long they're on their phone, but how often they pick up their phone. So it's the pickups that actually gives you the dopamines. The minute you get bored, you pick up your phone, right? So really trying to put away your phone about an hour before you go to sleep. Really be cognizant around when you actually pick up your phone. So when you're bored, you're waiting in line, you're going to pick up your phone, right? And you're going to just kind of check your email, whatever. Don't. So if you actually can pay attention, it's really good for your brain to actually get bored, and so that you can be aware of what's happening around you. So the reinforcement also has a lot to do with the rehab. So if you come from difficult childhood, which I didn't think I did at all, but clearly I do. And so I just realized that I have a lot of childhood trauma. And so I do tons of counseling. Cognitive behavioral therapy didn't work for me. I was just too smart, I think, or just outsmart the counselor, I think. Not smart, but I would just kind of over intellectualize things very easily.
Yeah. I mean, like, we also are kind of trained to see through some of those techniques, right? Like you are like, I know where you're trying to go with this, and I'm just going to head you off.
You're
I'm just not going to do this. That's not going to work on me. That doesn't work on me. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And also we tend to compartmentalize a lot, right? So as physicians, we really tend to sort of be able to do the task at hand and actually put our emotions aside. And that's why we're great warriors. We're great physicians. It serves us in our profession. But in fact, I had to actually do somatic therapy, which is, I'm not going to swear, it's very hard.
Say whatever you need to.
Yeah, I was like, it's really difficult, and it's very sticky and painful. But the concept of somatic therapy is really that you can sit in your emotions. You can even be aware of where you feel your emotions in your body. So you actually get very tuned to your body. It's not so much about the narrative. It's not so much about the story that you're telling yourself. It's about the perception and the core beliefs that are attached to you. And most of us, the core beliefs are, I'll give you an example. If my daughter is not thriving, then what did I not do enough of, right? So we make it very personal. And especially as parents, we make it super personal. And then if my daughter is not doing well mentally, physically, emotionally, then clearly I didn't do enough as a mom, and therefore I'm just not good enough. Right? So automatically just boop, brings you to that. And that the pain of it is really, it brings you to a lot of guilt and judgment. And guilt and judgment is in the family of shame, and the emotion shame. And shame is the most negative emotion anybody can feel. And most of us can't even sit in it for more than a second.
Pain we can tolerate. And, as physicians, it's really interesting because most of us are very frequent to get rid of the accolades. When somebody wants to tell you, oh, well, yes, it was all part of, we all did a good job for you, and everybody was here for you, and your family helped you. And, we don't really want to make that about ourselves. But if there's anything bad that happens, we are very quick to take that on as something where we failed. Again, your
Yeah.
daughter, your patient, my sons, whatever. I mean, we are very, very quick to take that on and see that as a personal failure and really
Yeah.
internalize that and be very, very slow to get rid of that. So,
Yeah. So, maybe the only sort of word of advice I can give to your listeners is be open, be curious around how you can reinforce your body. So, if it means your nervous system is on fire, go for massage therapy. Massage therapy is actually a form of somatic therapy. It's body work, right? It is. So book, like, if you can afford to go to massage therapy, go to massage therapy. And I took a whole year compassion inquiry course with Dr. Gabor Maté, and it was all about trauma work. And his approach is called compassionate inquiry. And I use that now approach to my patients, although I can't do it too much because you have to be so present and so grounded in the work that you do with your patients that sometimes as a family doc seeing, 25, 30 patients,
yeah,
like you can't be doing like compassionate inquiry in the middle of all that. So
you scratch the surface off of that, and
yeah,
all of a sudden you've really tapped into something that's going to tank the rest of your day. This is a 2-hour thing and not a 12-minute
well,
thing.
actually, he would argue and say you
Okay.
can actually do compassionate inquiry even within 10 to 15 minutes. You just have to know how to navigate and hold space for your patient to feel that sense of safety, to feel the emotion in their body. And, and the skill that you need to get then is to how to guide them, understanding the perception that they have and understanding the core value that doesn't serve them. And when you start breaking that core value that really is not serving you, all of a sudden you're like, oh, so it was explained so beautifully to me, where it said, trauma is really not necessarily what happened to you. It's really what happened within you, or that didn't happen for you. So, I always think, well, I don't really have trauma. Like my parents were quite nice parents. Although now I realize, no, they did not serve me the way I needed to be served. For me, it was like, I really needed to be a certain way. I needed to be socially responsible. I needed to be, a very good student, a very good daughter, all the Persians that are listening, you will relate to this.
I think,
It's just
honestly, I
exhausting,
think that
man.
this is like every child. Yeah, like I hope that my kids
It's
are
so
not listening.
exhausting.
This is
Oh,
the one episode, boys, that I don't want you to listen to. And to my
yeah.
daughter, she's already very adept at telling me where I'm wrong. So keeps me
Yeah,
humble. So
I know. That's
she seems
okay.
to be okay. She knows where all of her sources of her problems are. But it's
Well,
me.
and I tell my daughters as well, they're very sort of hyperachievers as well. And I keep saying, but you're still worthy. Um, if you don't get the mark. And she's like, really, mom? Like, you're going to be like, why'd you get a B? I was like, well, because I think you can do better.
I expect them to do their best, and
Yes.
that's
See?
all. That's
Yes.
different than
Yes.
perfect. I
Yes.
don't expect
Yes.
anybody to be perfect. I expect them to do their best, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and it's a cultural thing too. I mean, my parents are still alive and very involved in our lives, and yeah, they had expectations of the three daughters, and it is what it is. I mean, I remember my little sister. She came home one day and she got a B, and she started crying in front of the teacher, and the teacher said, "Why are you crying?" And she said, "Oh, you don't understand. Like B is like an F in my family." And then the teacher got really upset, like really upset. And she said, no, I would like to see your parents like right away. You get them in here. And so she went and got my parents, and the teacher was just like, what? Like, what's happening? This is what your daughters told me. And my parents were like, yes, we expect, yes, a B is an F. Yes. I didn't even back down.
Yeah, like how does a teacher even respond to that? Of like,
Yeah, they're like, oh,
okay, I get it.
okay.
You'll
In
have
all
something to
fairness,
talk about later with your therapist. Okay.
yeah,
So,
exactly. And so we all are aware of that. And so back to the care formula. So
yeah.
the C is calming the calming the mind. The A is activating the body. The R is reinforcing the body, and really sort of being open to various modes of healing modalities for yourself, be it, if you have musculoskeletal pains, of course, you're going to go to physiotherapy or massage therapy, whoever your practitioner is. But when it comes to your mental and emotional health, be open to, seeking counseling. Like, there's nothing wrong with seeing a counselor, be it for CBT. Clearly that didn't work for me, but if you want to do somatic work or trauma work, or I even see actually an energy healer, and
Really?
I am a conventional doctor, let me tell you.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, and I got to tell you, the way this woman explained to me about energies and how to sort of release energies, I was like, wow. So I'm teaching my residents this as well. So she told me, hey, Maryam, you're quite sensitive. I was like, really? No kidding. Okay. And she said, when you deal with a very sort of heavy situation, a patient that's going through a lot of pain, you will absorb their energy. You will actually absorb, and you will probably feel their emotional pain. So when you then swiftly go from that patient to the next, how do you reset? I was like, I don't know. I just feel the door
Push it.
handle.
Yeah, you just push it in the back, you shove it in
compartmentalize
that
it. I
little
don't know.
room, and then you...
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the thing. And so she said, you need to break the energy. So I don't, sure, if do you wash your hands? And I'm like, yeah, if I touch the patient, sure, I'll wash my hands, but I don't touch the patient, every patient. And she said, okay, well, can you just just kind of rub your hands from the top of your shoulders down your arms? And I was like, oh, I'll try that. And so I was like almost like you're getting rid of somebody's energy, just to break it a bit. And it really works. It really, really works. And it's actually, in some religions, this is kind of how they actually, before they start praying, this is how they clean themselves. And the element of water is another way of sort of breaking energy. So I always now take a shower right after I see my patient. Like, I come home and I take a shower, not because I think I'm dirty.
Right. It's just a mental...
It's just a reset. Yeah. So, the way you come home and you change your clothes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the R. The R has also elements of diet in there, although I'm not going to go into that. But, and then the E is the fun in the care formula is, so how do you engage your soul? So engaging your soul, meaning what fills you? Like, what fills Robert, not the Dr. Beck person.
Right.
So what does fill you?
So for me, I think being able to, and this is canned, but being able to spend time with my wife and my kids, that does fill me. But going down... The family time really does. That's kind of what it's all about, and what I'm really learning so much more. But also just going down. So I live 2 blocks from the beach right now.
Yeah.
And I go to the beach and I just look out at the mountains. I look at the water. I look for seals. I see seals 30% of the time that I'm down there.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff has really started to fill me. That is good for me. I feel relaxed when I'm doing that. That really does help me. Learning things, doing, reading about things, just learning something new. That is very rejuvenating to me. I don't do exercise. I thought that I did exercise to fill me. I thought that I did triathlons and weights and all of that stuff, but that I don't. I think that I use that as more of like a decompression, and I use that.
Fair enough.
I use that as more of a... I'm learning that I'm using that as more of a tool to release, like the stress, the everything else. That does not... I enjoy that. It makes me feel good to do that, but that does not feel regenerative to me. So
you were actually way more self-aware than the average human being.
I'm waiting for my wife to come in. She's
I don't want to stereotype gender, obviously, But that's really good that you're really sort of aware of that. The more self-awareness you have, the more you can make better decisions for yourself, right? So, and I think this is still obviously very stereotypical, but most men really are just they don't have time, and they don't take the time to reflect, and they don't take the time to really sort of be attuned with themselves and know, and they just have like one or two tools and that's all they use, And so I think the more you can pause to reflect, the more you can be like, oh, this is filling me. Like even the music you listen to is so pivotal. There are certain music that I'm like, oh my God, like there's a Metallica song that I used to listen to when I was little. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, so good. So, and I just went to the Coldplay concert.
I really hope it's not like
London.
Master of Puppets or something like that.
No, no, I went to Coldplay just for 3 days. Can you imagine? Like literally it was like, we were like the jet setters. We flew to London. We were super jet lagged, but we spent 2-3 days, went and saw Chris Martin, and boom, came back. And didn't even feel the jet lag coming back. Saw patients the next day. But it was so soul fulfilling because the energy that 90,000 people in Wembley Stadium gave us, and the music and just the energy of hope and goodness was so important that I actually came back almost like a renewed individual. And engaging your soul can also you don't have to actually spend so much money going to London to see Coldplay. Although it's finished now, so you can't. You can also intentionally every morning really savor your cup of coffee, if you drink coffee in the morning, at the spot that you really enjoy in your own home. It could be that simple. It could also be that when you teach and you're teaching your residents, and you spend that extra 5 minutes with that resident, that actually engages your soul because it's got purpose and it's got intention. Or when you're doing a project, a passion project like Zili Care, or you're volunteering, or you're doing other things for your kids' school that you hate doing, but you still do it. It does have some soul fulfilling. And I've now been very intentional around what is my responsibility versus obligation versus is this going to fill me?
Right.
And when my cup is a bit empty, I start saying no to all the obligations and the sense of responsibility if I don't have to do them. Because I need to fill my cup again. So for me, the better you're, that thermometer, that the gauge of what actually fills you, and how often can you just fill it without spending thousands of dollars going to Coldplay?
going to Coldplay in Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. What happens to most of us is that we just we're in this hamster wheel and we don't even realize we're in a hamster wheel, and everything becomes so the same, and you can't even pull yourself up to be like, wait a minute, is this what I want? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And then we're like, no, we're going to Coldplay. But my goal, the journey of this whole Zili Care, is to become more and more self-aware so that I have better boundaries and I have better compassion for myself, and that I can love myself regardless of how much I'm achieving or how much I've served my family or patients or whoever. Yeah. So I'm starting to love myself a little bit more. It's still a project, but
that is really good.
This itself is a counseling. Like I gotta tell you, just to figure out how to do your care without feeling like it's another thing to do is a skill that a lot of us, I think, were only given as a form of exercise. A lot of us, I think, were, I remember in my class, my medical school class, we had a lot of athletes in my class, a lot of varsity athletes. Actually, we had Olympians in my class, and it was amazing to be in that class because we could put together a lot of team sports, but some were musicians, and that was their tool, and they would
Yeah.
just play their instruments. Or it was just some, I just had a colleague of mine just send me her book. She just wrote a novel, a fiction. Like, it's so cool. Actually, she needs to interview on this.
Yes. Okay.
She's an amazing woman. So there's so many ways to do it. As long as you have more than one or two tools, you're going to be okay. And I think it's just a matter of, how can we give those tools to our patients and not wait for the patient to be so anxious that they're like, now I'm having panic attacks and now my sympathetic nervous system is on fire all the time. And now you need an anti-anxiety medication. I'd rather start proactively sort of when the patients are kind of in the early orange zone. Like, you have sort of green, orange, red zone. If they're in the early orange, sort of mid orange, to kind of give them the care formula. Within 6 weeks, they can go back into green. I mean, that's how effective proactive and preventative care can be.
When I would love to think that I am a super highly evolved and emotionally in touch with myself, and there's no way that I could say that. I mean, obviously, I don't take very good care of myself. I look like I'm a crypt keeper because I have not slept in weeks.
No, you're still a pretty good looking guy.
Well, no. Very much appreciated. It's a lot of filters, but like huge bags under my eyes, and sleep is definitely not where I get a lot of care. Mm-hmm. But when I was in Nashville and when I was doing primary care, I thought that I was taking care of myself because I was doing all of this triathlon stuff, but I really was not. But I actually had my Apple Watch here, and I had to turn the calm filter because it would sit there, and during the day when I was talking to my patients, it would sense my heart rate going up while I was sitting there. And it has like this little thing, this alert that comes up that says, breathe, calm down, like you've got to stop. And I turned it off because it kept going off so much.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, dude, you got to calm down. And I was like, shut up. And I turned it off. And that, I mean, obviously looking back, was a huge red flag, and of me not taking care of myself and me not doing anything to fill the cup, as you would say. And if I just can't even, all the things that you're saying right now, I will never get a massage. I do not like that. Sorry. It's just, I'll have to come up with something else, but
you can find something else.
Yeah. These other things. Right. But I think that there are so many doctors who are going through what you went through and what I went through. And this is why I think it's so important, is that this is supposedly a podcast that's all about, preventing burnout and recognizing it. But I think that what I've gotten out of all of this so far in doing this podcast is just recognizing how bad it was and not shoving everything down and not just compartmentalizing. But my watch was screaming at me to just calm down, get some help, like just, at least admit that you had a problem. And one of the great things for me was just being able, when I moved here and started my job, when I was driving to Nanaimo and back, I was in the car for almost 4 hours a day. I couldn't do anything other than sit and listen to a book. And then I picked up listening to podcasts, and I would call and talk to my mom. I would call and talk to some of my friends, and, just listen to music. And that really did help me take some time and just to learn a little bit more about what was really important to me for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's beautiful that you're recognizing that your body was speaking to you, but you were ignoring it.
Oh, totally.
And that is the classic physician thing, because we are really good at ignoring things because we're so hyper focused on the work that we're doing, right? So imagine you're in the middle of a cold blue and your neck is hurting. Who gives a basically?
Yeah.
Right? Like you're like, okay, yeah.
Got to do some chest compressions here. I got to push some epi.
Exactly. Like, who cares? Let's go. And so most of us, what happens to us is that we're like literally at war all the time. And we're these soldiers at war. And literally the only way these soldiers will take a break is when they're bleeding and we're like literally have to take you out of the battlefield. And I feel like that's just a terrible culture that we've been
100%.
we've been sort of brewed in. And unfortunately, one of the biggest things I remember, even when I became a physician 20 years ago, I was like, yeah, I do this and I deliver babies and I do that. And like, I was like cocky about how much I do. But did somebody even like talk to me when I actually, I remember I had to go to a psychologist because I was already burnt out like the first year in practice or second year in practice. And then and then the lady asked me, she goes, she would only counsel physicians. And she asked me, she's like, so how do your parents relax? And I was like, yeah, I don't like, what do you guys do on vacation? And I said, oh, I think they do a lot. Like, I think just a very proactive parents, like they would be like, okay, now we're going to go see this. And then we're going to go to here. And okay, now it's time for you to read your book. Like it was everything was so organized and there wasn't enough time to just breathe and be. And I actually look at my own father. He's now he's 82 and he still bikes and very active and he's, he's fine, but he's restless. Like I can tell the restlessness in him. And I still haven't gotten him to meditate yet. But he's starting to understand. I'm starting to give him some tools around sort of walking and actually being present. So not being in your thoughts all the time. Because he likes to worry. He likes to worry about all 3 daughters and all his grandchildren. And sometimes he accidentally says, what do we worry about now? I'm like, are you kidding?
Like, just relax.
Just relax. Like, and it's I think for us being the warriors that we are, it has served us because our coping mechanism is to be in control and hyperachieve and we have pleaser in us. So we want to please everyone and make sure everyone's okay. It serves you until it doesn't serve you. Yeah. And unfortunately, some physicians, they go through terrible, not only burnout, but they all of a sudden get cancer. They get terrible autoimmune disease. And it's not to say it's their fault. It has nothing to do with fault. It's to do with the fact that when your body is under chronic stress, it does turn on your inflammatory cascade in your body, and it can turn on your bad genes that you have gotten. So, in a way, I think proactive preventative care really has to do with how well you know yourself and how well you can actually be able to ride those ebbs and flows and not chronically be in the state where your watch is like, Robert.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Hey, man. Yeah.
Calm it down. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and having grace for ourselves and forgiving ourselves and, and anytime I go through an emotion now, I carry guilt with me all the time. I have guilt all the time when it comes to my kids, when it comes to, maybe I'm not with my patients enough. Like maybe I'm not working enough days or whatever. And now I realize that is something that's going to follow me, but I interpret the guilt differently now. So anytime I kind of take time for myself and the guilt comes, I'm like, oh, I'm doing the right thing. The guilt is here.
I'm going to look at that way with my kids. When my kids start blaming me for something, I'll be like, no, I think that's a good thing. No, it's totally a good thing. That's what I'm taking away from this conversation. No,
but just having grace, I still get stressed and I still, have very sort of strong emotions. I still get triggered, but I recover faster. Yeah. I think that's the difference. So my recovery time is faster because I have so much self-compassion. Actually, I can now sit and suffer with myself a little bit without marinating in my pain. But I do say to my patients that emotions, if you don't actually have a story attached to an emotion, if you can sit in your emotion for that emotion without the narrative attached, it leaves you within 3 minutes. An emotion leads you within 3 minutes if it doesn't come with a story attached. So that it just kind of goes through you, and it's a beautiful thing to learn yourself. And I also learned that I am not my thoughts, which I would have so much judgment over my own thoughts. I'd be like, why am I thinking that? Oh my God, what? And then I realized, no, we have 60,000 thoughts at least a day, and most of it is rubbish. So that's okay. And as long as you are actually just awareness of your thought, you can pivot your thoughts. And you don't have to chase every thought. So there's just this like grace that comes with that. And I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not my every thought.
Right.
Right?
So now we're just learning how to calm the physician mind, how to calm our own minds.
Yes. And really just be kind to yourselves, and understand what that means to you. Really figure out, what does engaging your soul mean to you? I mean, you already mentioned just going down to the water. Water, ocean just brings you to the present moment because it's so much bigger than you. Yeah. The beauty and the awe is what kind of strikes most people. The minute you're in awe, you just realize that your thoughts are just rubbish, and it's really not. It takes you away from your daily thoughts, and I think those are the things. I think that's what the meaning of life is, and I feel like, okay, like life is not so much doom and gloom, and it gives you so much hope around when you know these things.
Yeah,
knowledge is only 40%, obviously, of the journey. The other 60% is just consistency. Like, you just have to be consistent in your quest to care for yourself. Really, love yourself.
That's a wonderful, wonderful way to end it right there.
Yeah,
love yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Physician,
love yourself.
Love thyself. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It is always so good to see you, and good to talk to you. So thank you.
You're gonna have to come to Vancouver and visit us.
Yes, I actually want to do that. That would be really fun. So we're going to try and take a little bit more time this year and take some weekend trips, get out, go see some things, and kind of slow down a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. I recommend it. And connection is one of the biggest things. So having those connections and having a community around you is what's going to engage your soul too. So that engages me a lot. So, you and your family coming over to Vancouver is going to engage my soul.
We would love to do it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Interesting MD podcast. Please check out my content on YouTube at Interesting MD and follow me on TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at The Interesting MD and on X at Interesting MD. If you have comments or questions and want to get in touch with me or any of my guests, please DM me on socials or email me at rob@interestingmd.com. If you have any ideas for a show and you want to share your hobbies with me or don't know where to get started on your own project, you can email ideas@interestingmd.com. Please like and subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel to get the latest content. Much appreciation to Falter Media for editing, producing, and posting all Interesting MD content. Check them out, because if they can do this for me, imagine what they can do for you. See you next week.